The only way I'm going to get there is by grinding it out, and it's going to suck along the way. But those are the guys that end up making it because they just went about their business and got it done.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Champion School, where we teach something. That's what I'm saying. Like, we need something. Bang, right there.
Yeah, if you have an idea for a tagline, it used to be mindset, leadership, culture, but that was kind of just, I don't know if that's a good enough tagline. Is it? Maybe it is, but we need like a saying, like where champions go to work. Ooh.
What was the old school saying? That was something along those lines, where the champions are made or something. I can't remember.
I don't know, dude.
But it was the way you said it. It used to get me all the time. So it was in your like rock overlay intro. That was so good. Those fire. So we need a new tagline. We need to get back on that. But we are Champion School. We do talk to cool people like Coach Scott Stricklin that we're going to have on today, head coach at UGA, the Bulldogs. So before we get to him though, who is a phenomenal human being, Byler Austin, BZB, how you doing?
I'm doing great, dude. We got a new coffee machine, and it's been a game changer. The old coffee machine was getting a little old, and it was tasting rusty. It wasn't very good coffee, and we all know if you don't have good coffee, it's just not a good day. So you got to have the good coffee. So we got some new cups. The coffee's been getting drank. I probably have too many cups each day, but hey, at least it's coffee. It's nothing else.
Did you go Keurig? What'd you go with?
So it's a hybrid. It can do the Keurig, but it also has like a filter where you can put in the grounds in. So I like that because I like the big grounds, and boom, you just throw it in there and let it go. And if it's like in a rush, like before a workout, or you're just kind of getting up, need to go quick, pop the Keurig in, then you can rock it. So you kind of like a hybrid, man. It's like the best of both worlds.
Would you consider yourself a coffee snob?
Not a snob, but a connoisseur.
Okay, good. Very nice.
Never a snob.
Very
yeah.
Nice.
Like okay. I just give it a little, I do love the smell of fresh grounds. It's probably one of my top 3 smells.
It is really good. And you can tell the difference with good coffee for sure. But you're a little bit of a coffee snob sometimes.
It's got to taste okay.
No, it's all good. It's all good. MLU updates, anything for the people? I know we're getting launched into some camp season here. But any updates since the last time we talked?
Yeah, a couple updates. So we've got a couple new camps locked in. We just locked in Casper, Wyoming, which is going to be great. And there's 2 other small towns in some of the rural communities that we're going to hopefully be going to. We're in the process of working on those, getting those lined up. I'm kind of looking forward to the summer too, where we got a lot going on this summer, but I think it's a lot of good stuff that's happening. Looking to expand our team to get more people out there to impact and just spread the field a little bit so we can go to the places that we want to go to and that want us to be there. So we got a couple of those going, and then who knows what's going to pop up here in this month of February as far as local Arizona things. Got a few different things towards the end of the month with some high schools here in town, which is going to be good. A few meetings with some athletic directors. So a lot of good stuff happening. It's just, hey, the process, man, we keep growing every year. It seems like, a couple new locations or people and connections, and it keeps kind of building. So a lot of good stuff on our end, MLU-wise.
Yeah. Explosion in terms of summer coming. It's happening. So excited about the new members we're adding our team too. A couple of dudes. We'll get into more detail on that as we get it solidified, but fired up. So let's get into the good news of the week. Good news of the week this week. I have 2 really cool, interesting stories. One from your future neck of the woods this summer. This first one coming from Sweden. So we talk about avoiding anxiety, chronic anxiety. It comes up with a lot of people. The numbers are continually going up. But there's a study in Sweden that shows exercise is the best way to alleviate symptoms of chronic anxiety without drugs or therapy, period, flat out. It said most patients in a 12-week circuit training cycle went from moderate to high level of resting anxiety to low level without a doubt. And every one of them saw some sort of improvement. So we always preach it, and Coach Powers is the one grinding us on the track to make sure we are in fantastic shape. But a huge study. What do you think about that? And I know it's something that you're always talking about with kids too.
It's a must. You don't feel the same if you don't go work out. It's just a fact, man. It's the difference in you feeling good all day long versus like kind of feeling like you let yourself down or you need to move or you just feel kind of lethargic and gross. It's crazy that when you go out and expend, even if it's just 30 minutes of physical activity, you're spending energy to gain energy. That's how I look at it. So you're investing in your energy spent to receive more energy throughout the rest of the day and sustain that energy in a much healthier way. So I totally agree with the study. I think it's awesome. And I think everybody needs to get moving. Move your body. Let's go.
That's right. No, I like it. I think what is the Austin Byler workout right now? Like what are you doing? I'm sure it's a little bit different than back in the day, but what are you doing now in your workouts?
It's all through my man Decker, man. It depends on if I show up. That's the first part.
Who's
I gotta show
Who's
up.
Decker for those that don't know?
Yeah, so my guy Kyle Decker, he runs Foothills Athletic Sports Training here in Arizona. Does a great job. He's worked with a lot of great athletes over the years. I worked with him from since about 6th grade till still to this day. I mean, through my playing days and everything. So the dude's been awesome. He's done a lot of great things. He's really helped me just mentally, physically, emotionally, nutritionally, right, in all the different categories, helping just teach me and kind of just coach me up on a lot of things. So I go with whatever he says, man. So there's some bear crawls involved. There's some crazy ab stuff, a lot of outside the box stuff, some deadlifts here and there. I don't try to squat much, but he'll add that in every once in a while. And then a lot of just different workouts that push your body in these different types of ways that really help get the most out of you. So that's the big one. If I miss my workout, I always walk or I go run or I ride my bike or all three. It depends on the day. So today is a bike ride day. I'm going to hit a bike ride this afternoon. I'm excited about it.
Are you doing heavy weights still, or is it like lower weight, body weight, more stuff like that?
More, but it's a mix, right? It's a mix. So there are some heavy weights, like the deadlifts. We got pretty heavy, at least for what I felt was heavy this last week. So that was definitely new. Oh, dude, I'm buckling, shaking, and my mobility doesn't get much better as I get older. It's never been good, dude. Now I'm getting older, so it's just it's a pain. So some weights, I think there's a good hybrid of some weights, right? So you're getting some good weight stuff in, and then also some lighter, more body type movements that can really get you moving around. So there are some weights in there. I think it's probably a good hybrid of it. I really like the mix though that he does and he gets after. So it's been very beneficial for sure, especially when I'm in there doing it consistently. It's been a huge mental boost for sure.
Shout out to Decker, getting your mind right.
Shout out.
Love it. So question for you now, on to story number 2. Have you ever been put in a situation where like you were immediately like morally checked into like, hey, am I going to make this happen? Am I the guy in this situation? Random example would be like some guy snatches a purse on a train, but you could stop him. I don't know.
Ooh.
Has there ever been a situation like that comes to mind for you that has happened before?
Not that really comes to mind. The only one was the other couple months ago when there was the fire and I had to call 911 for the first time.
There you go.
So I saw the fire. I knew there's a lot of homeless people in the canal. I knew it was probably something going on over there that caused the fire, but I thought it was fake at first. I'm like, why? This looks weird. I've never seen this.
Yeah.
So at that point, I kind of looked around and I was like, should I call the police? I think I was on the phone with you. I'm like, I think I need to get off the phone and call 911. So that was one where I called them. And then like literally 5 minutes later, they showed up, put it out. They're walking around and I kind of felt good about it. So that was probably the only time where I've really been put into those situations. Other than that, there's nothing I can really think of.
Well, let me ramp that situation up. No, I got it. That's perfect. So let me ramp the situation up for you. Where were you at when that happened in your apartment, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So imagine you're walking down the street and that house is on fire and you don't hear any. What are you doing there?
Oh, I'm calling right there. No doubt. If I'm walking down the street and I see a house on fire, I'm calling ASAP.
Okay. Now
I'm not going head first into the house though. No way.
One more. Let me ramp it up one more time. You get that call in. Maybe you haven't called yet. 3 kids come out of the house and say that their mom and younger brother are still inside. Now, what do you do?
I probably go in.
I
took fire science for 2 years in high school, man. I got some.
You got some knowledge. Good. Let me replay this for you. Quick story. Again, this is Good News Network has brought this one. This is written by Good News Network. That's all we got. Dude is walking by this house or driving by this house at super early in the morning. He was already late for work. Ryan Passborg. That situation happens, dude. 3 kids are walking, like he pulls in because he doesn't hear any sirens. 3 kids come walking out and say that their mom and 4-year-old brother are still inside. He goes inside, crawls on his hands and knees underneath the smoke because it was tough to see, bumps into a 4-year-old child, pulls him out, goes back in, grabs the mom, pulls her out. Just some random dude late to work.
Imagine if he wasn't late to work, he wouldn't have even been on scene. Like, think about how life works.
Right? That's crazy. Like, maybe that dude, hit snooze today, and that is what saved that woman's life and child. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Dude, that is wild. What a hero.
Insane.
That's the good news. That needs to be all over the main networks.
That's out. That was actually out there in Wyoming, which is why I had to give you that shout out.
I saw that Jamestown. I think Jamestown. I don't know how close it is, but we'll figure it out. I'm going out there next week. We'll get the lay of the land, or more just.
Can't be that far. It's Wyoming.
A lot of open space out there.
That's right. Anyways, Wyoming, Laramie, go Bison. Let's get into Chew on This, presented by Grinds. Chew on this week. Interesting news. MLB PA put in for the they put up their what did you call that proposal, right? They said, hey, this is what we're asking for. Rob Manfred, who is often looked down upon by many baseball players, fans, people, just in the way he handles things like this, reported back and said, we're not up for negotiation. We need a mediator to come in and sit down and walk us through this. And that has frustrated a lot of folks. But beyond the politics of Major League Baseball and a commissioner who's inept, for you, see that little jab? I got that one.
I like that. Good. It's good.
For you, if you're one of these players in this situation, you can't go in and work with a coach in the off season. You're really kind of supposed to stay away from it in general. There's really no telling when this thing's going to come back online, whether that's through spring training, after spring training, April, who knows? What are you doing as a player to get ready for this kind of thing? What's going through your head as an athlete, going like, I don't know when, right? Because the same thing happens in college sometimes too. Not necessarily lockouts and things like that, but guys will go away for winter break. They know they need to take a little bit of a break, but they have that balancing act of, hey, I need to get ramped up too, So what are you as a professional athlete thinking in that kind of situation, and what's going through your head in this kind of whirlwind of an off season?
I'm definitely frustrated. I would definitely be frustrated. That's the easy thing, because all it takes is a mature conversation to find some equilibrium amongst the situation. I mean, that's really all it is. But it never works that way. So so I'm frustrated, but you can't control it, right? It's totally out of your control, unfortunately, which is the tough part. And I think uncertainty breeds a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety and worry for a lot of people, especially if you're one of those guys who's kind of on the fringe of like, this is kind of your make or break year. So I'm keeping my head down. I'm working my tail off in whatever facility or off-season location that I'm in. Wherever I'm at, doesn't matter. I'm getting my work in daily, preparing like a season's happening, preparing like I'm going to spring training in a week or two, preparing like everything's still full go. Now, once we find out more details, and obviously it's probably going to be pushed back a little bit, if not for a long time, and really just sustaining that work ethic, which is the hardest thing. But I think at this point, you got to get off the social media. You got to get off a lot of the distractions. You got to find a good crew that you can stay around so that you aren't subject to those distractions. Because the worst thing you could do is get on social media, say something you don't really mean, but you're in the heat of the moment. And then now you're looked at or judged upon due to what you said, and it could potentially affect your career in a negative way. So I think that's probably the biggest thing is like, I know you want to voice your opinion, but also like kind of understand the situation, staying in your lane, doing your things, keep working, kind of fly under the radar and make sure that you are ready to go, game ready by the time this stuff ends. Cause who knows, it might end and it's like, hey, we got to go out and play. So challenging for sure, but you got to find a way to keep working. And that's why you're professional.
Yeah. And we're looking at 2 big names in the sport that jumped into that conversation yesterday or 2 days ago in Max Scherzer and Marcus Stroman. Those dudes know how to handle their business. They definitely get their work in on the offseason. There's no doubt about it. for me as maybe even an up and coming player somewhere in that ranks, like I'm letting the big dogs take care of the talk, right? Like do your thing. My head is down, bro. Like I was never in a position as a college athlete, a professional athlete to go, I can run my mouth a little, right? Like keep your head down, go to work. I don't know. Tough times. I'm hoping for a season personally. Hopefully it starts on time, but I think that the things that the players are fighting for are the right things. I think especially the service time manipulation point where you can keep a guy in the minor leagues 3 days longer to extend his life under your organization and pay him pennies when your name's Chris Bryant and you deserve probably a little bit more than that.
And you're an all-star coming up. Like, give me a break, dude.
Give
It's
the
ridiculous.
Players what they need and deserve, and give the fans what they want, man. They give them the time under their belt. And when the player's ready, he's ready.
Yeah. The problem is it doesn't do any good for anybody. Like it hurts everyone. So the owners, they lose money. The players, they don't get to go play. The fans don't get to watch the game. So now people lose interest. We're already losing interest. You're trying all these things to try and speed up the game. But in reality, like none of it's actually speeding up the game much. So why are we like trying all these outside the box ideas that are ruining the game of what we've created? We're trying to manipulate it and make it way more robotic and all this stuff. Say what you want. And there might be some good or some bad to each one of these ideas that they're trying out. But at the end of the day, man, you're really just hurting the whole sport in general. I mean, football is kind of on the rise after this last year. They had a really good year, I believe, at least from excitement wise. NBA has been rolling for a little bit. The MLB is just lagging behind, but it's the leadership at the top. It's no doubt. It's why it's been lagging behind for a while. So they need to figure out a way to change the leadership or do something about this and come to an agreement.
What are you doing? And we'll extend this for a little bit because it's interesting. What are you doing to boost the game? Like if you're Rob Manfred at this point, what are you doing to try and bring in new fans to make this more of an enjoyable sport to watch?
Dude, I'm getting the kids involved from day one, because if the kids are involved, everybody's involved. I'm also taking a look at the Savannah Bananas and what they do. I mean, their Instagram is ridiculous. Like, yeah, it might be a little over the top sometimes, but think about the fun, the excitement. And when you go to the game, you're going to an experience, you're going to an event. You're not just going there to sit and watch a baseball game. And we've seen by just, if you took a panoramic of the field, how many people are watching their phone over the game when they're at the game. So why not do something where there's some on-field entertainment? There's some really cool in between inning stuff. There's some exciting things that you can look forward to as far as like promo nights. Like the bobblehead stuff's great, but it's kind of outplayed, man. Like you can only get so many 1,000 first fans for bobbleheads. Like that's cool. You got to keep doing it, but find some in-game entertainment that makes things interesting. Do something outside the box. Stop making it so serious and have some more fun with it. So I think that's a big piece, getting the kids involved, which will bring the families, which will bring the game to rise. Cause let's just be honest, like it's kind of like hockey. Like not a lot of people want to go watch a game. Like it's got to be in person.
Did you just take that shot at NHL right there? What?
Dude, I'm just being real, dude. Like I'll go to a hockey game, but yeah, okay, maybe. But like I'm not like looking forward to going to a hockey game all the time. Like I'm definitely not watching it on TV. So if you had some excitement in the game that was different, and you actually let the players be themselves, like that'd be fun. So maybe I took it too far, but
yeah, I don't know if we're confident to the MLB in this case, but I do agree that give me more Mr. Freeze races, give me more sausage races, and give me more Lucille throwing his little hips around because that's what's fun about baseball. That's what kids love to see. And I think it's really cool. I think one other thing, and this is bigger issue, is just adjusting it so that when I want to watch the Giants, I can just go on and watch the Giants. Stop the blackouts, stop making it so, if you're in a certain area, you have to have a specific TV package. Like if I want to pay for all the games, let me pay for all the games, we're looking to spend money. So
that's a fact.
Anyways, sorry about the rant. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. But today, a head coach who really needs no introduction. Both of the next two head coaches, the resumes are crazy long. But for us, Scott Stricklin with Georgia, I was a little nervous, honestly, starting the interview because I was like, man, he comes off a little tough. But as the interview goes on, he opens up for sure. And he's definitely a guy I would love to play for at some point. And I can't imagine what it's like being on that campus right now, crazy times.
Electric.
Anyways, let's get into the interview with Coach Stricklin.
Awesome. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Champion School. I'm Austin Bother. We've got Jared Perkins, Ray Mack, and a very special guest, University of Georgia's head baseball coach, Scott Stricklin. Coach, welcome to the show, man. We're excited to have you. How you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, man, we're pumped, man. So we just kind of dive right into it, man. I want to dive into your story. You kind of did some research. I know you played a little professional ball. Obviously had a lot of success in college, and then you've had so much success as a head coach at a couple of different stops. But diving into your story, what really led you into the coaching atmosphere and saying, hey, I want to be a head coach one day, or even just go coach college baseball?
Well, just growing up, that's all I did. I played sports, whatever season it was, that's what I played. And, I go back to, with the kids in our neighborhood, heck, when Wimbledon was going on, we're playing tennis. When, the United States won the gold medal in hockey, we're out there trying to play hockey in our driveway. I mean, whatever it was, we tried to do it. We loved playing sports, and I had two teachers as parents, so education was important. But I loved sports and loved athletics, and always wanted to be a part of it. And when I got to college and got to Kent State, I played for Danny Hall, who is now the head coach at Georgia Tech. So makes it interesting now. It's our arch rival, and he was my mentor and my head coach. I just realized this is what I want to do. I want to do what he's doing. And so after I got done playing pro ball, just got into it, took the volunteer route. I actually coached for him at Georgia Tech, and just knew this is what I wanted to do. Didn't know if it was going to happen, because I was 2.5 years as a volunteer, and that's tough sledding. That's hard to do. And just finally got a break, and got my first real coaching gig at Vanderbilt, and just kind of went on from there.
It's amazing, man. And I know for Ray Mack down there, he spent a lot of time in the volley, right? I'm sure you can attest to that, Ray Mack, but kind of bouncing around, right? Different places. And you mentioned the opportunity, right? Having that right opportunity. For a young head coach, for a young coach out there, for anybody who's in those positions, right? Volley, ops, whatever it might be, who's trying to work their way up, but just doesn't see the end of the tunnel yet and can't see the light. I guess, what is your best advice to some of those young coaches out there that are in the middle of the grind? And I know it's easy to kind of look ahead and say, hey, if I get there, if I can go here, I'm looking for other jobs. But being present, like, what is maybe some of your best advice to any young head coaches out there?
Well, you got to be where your feet are. And, it's great to set goals, and it's great to have ambition and want to go, to a certain level, but you're not going to get there looking for it. It's only going to come there and come to you if you take care of your business in the present and where you currently are. And, we all do it. We all daydream. We all wish and hope. But if we're not doing the things that are adding up to success, if we're not taking care of our business where we currently are, the future is not going to be where it needs to be. So you got to take care of where you are, and you have to have goals, and you have to have ambition. But if you're so worried about getting to the next step that you forget where you are, and you're not taking care of your business where your feet are currently, then you're not going to have success. So, my best advice is to do the best absolute job at what you're doing, no matter what that is. If it's the worst job in the world, and I think we've all had bad jobs, and if we do a really bad job at that bad job, I'm not getting a better one. Why would someone give me a better job if I can't even do the bad job right? So do the absolute best job you can at whatever job that is. And it's amazing how things work out. Success isn't guaranteed, but I tell you what's guaranteed: not having success is guaranteed if you don't take care of your business where you currently are.
That is really good. That is really, really good. And kind of mentioning that, right? Like, I think it's easy for us to look ahead and, like you said, kind of daydream. And I think we all do that sometimes, where it's like, what if I get here? Or for you, SEC, right? Very big conference, one of the best baseball conferences in the world. High level competition, right? Facing dudes every day. I'm kind of curious, and I'll kick it off to Ray Mack. I know it looks good on the outside, right? Because, hey, head coach, you've had a lot of success over your years, right? You've done a great job impacting players. I think you've coached a few of my old buddies, Jared Walsh and Hunter Cole, I believe, some great dudes. And looking at that, I know that it doesn't come easy. And there's a lot of adversity that we have to face. There's a lot of challenges, and we're big on overcoming challenges. And for you, what were maybe some of those times in your coaching career that you faced a little adversity? You had a challenge that you had to overcome, and it kind of took you to dig down deep and overcome some of those challenges?
Well, my first year as a head coach at Kent State, I inherited a team that had a lot of talent on it. But to be honest with you, I didn't do a very good job my first year at Kent. We were more talented than what we showed win-loss record-wise. And I can remember after that first year thinking, oh no, am I in over my head? Am I going to be able to do this? We all question ourselves when we finally get an opportunity to do what we've always wanted to do. Can I really do this? And I'll never forget getting a phone call from then athletic director at Kent State, Lane Kennedy. And he said, Scott, I hired you because you're the right person. You're the right man for this job. We believe in you. I know this year didn't go the way you thought it was going to go, but you're going to have success because of how you do things. Just keep doing what you do. We believe in you. And I can't tell you how great that made me feel. Just, whew, good. The boss believes in me. And I think that's important. And I think that's important for our players to hear from the coaches. Like, hey, man, we're hard on you, but we believe in you. And we're hard on you for a reason because we believe in you. And so he just gave me that vote of confidence. And we won 8 straight championships after that. And we had a ton of success at Kent State. And I told this story the other day to a friend of mine. When I left Kent, people in Kent State thought I was really smart because we had really good teams. We won championships. We went to Omaha in 2012. Man, Coach Stricklin, what a great coach. He's so smart. He's so intuitive. I go to Georgia, and we weren't very good for our first few years. And all of a sudden, I got dumb in a hurry. And coaches become really smart when you have really good players that all buy in and all going in the same direction. We had good players here. We didn't have enough. We didn't have enough depth in this league, and we had to build that. But we also had to get everybody on board buying in, and that's really tough for any new coach. And I think any coach can relate to that. When you take over a program and you're a new voice, you're a different personality, you're going to have guys straying away a little bit and maybe just listening with one ear and at some point not listening with either ears. And that's a challenge. You have to get everybody going in the same direction. And I think that as a new coach, we all go through that. And yeah, certainly my first few years here were very, very difficult, trying to turn things around, trying to get them going in the direction that we wanted to go in. And it took 4 full years to do that. And I'm just grateful that Greg McGarity, our athletic director when I first got here, had the patience to believe in us and to see that, hey, this is going in the right direction. It might not be going as fast as what we all want it to go in, but he believed in us. So to have success, you got to have people that believe in you and that give you that opportunity. And I've had that along the way.
That is so good, Ray.
Those SEC fans really expect that thing to happen right away. I know that for sure. So I wanted to ask you, when you're making that shift, right, you're taking over a new team or a new group, what is it that you're doing, maybe you and your staff are doing, to help get everybody to pull on that same side of the rope?
Well, just to be honest with them. And I can remember our first team meeting when I came here to Georgia was, hey, this is going to be different. And for some of you, that difference is going to be good. And for some of you, that difference is going to be bad. And you have got to get to the mindset that this is where we are. These are the circumstances. I'm your head coach. These are your new assistant coaches. We're going to do things differently. Whether you think it's good or bad, you don't have a whole lot of control over that. You have to adjust and you have to buy in. So we talked about the buy-in right from the start, that it's going to be different. We were really, really hard on those early teams. And you can ask Hunter Cole, you can ask Jared Walsh. There were a lot of days they didn't like me. And because we were trying to challenge them and trying to, this is the way it's going to be. In order to be successful at this level, or really any level, things aren't going to be easy. And we made it hard on those earlier teams to try to change that mindset. And sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. But we just didn't come in here and say, hey, you guys, we're not going to change anything. We're just going to do things the way they were, because we came in for a reason. We had struggled at Georgia, and we needed a change in the program. And we came in here, and it was difficult. It was hard. I'm not going to say I sat here and made every decision the right way. You just kind of do things the way you think are best, and hopefully get things turned around. And again, it took some time, but we got it turned around.
Well, yeah, for sure, because you're competitive. I mean, I think you guys won that series at Vandy last year. You had a great year. The one stat that stood out to me, though, reading your bio more, was you had 27 SEC first year or SEC spring academic honor roll. So like to be able to maintain that off the field and on the field is just key. Some of the coaches that you have, Sean Kinney was an old USD. I coached at USD for a little bit, old USD guy. What has your staff meant to you in helping shape this thing? You have some really good dudes underneath you.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, as a head coach at this level, you have to have a great support staff. You have to have a great coaching staff. And you mentioned Sean Kenny. I mean, he's had success everywhere he's been, whether JUCO route. I mean, he started from the ground up.
Laney.
We were teammates in Fairbanks, Alaska, almost 30 years ago. That's where we met, and we played against each other in the Mid American Conference. And then he went on. He coached in junior college after he got done with pro ball. He coached at Pepperdine. He coached at San Diego. He's coached at Maryland. He's coached at Michigan. He's been all over the country and had success everywhere. But he's just such a great communicator, and he's really smart. He's really intelligent, but he communicates. Players believe in him. They trust him. They like him. And when you have trust and you like the guy, you're really going to listen and you want to do well. So I think that's what we have here. We have a high-level pitching staff with a lot of talent, but guys that believe in the person that's giving them the message. And my hitting coach and recruiting coordinator, Scott Daly, we've been together now. This is our 18th season together.
Really?
We were together at Kent State for 9 years, and he helped build that program to the lengths and to the levels that we got to, and brought him along. And, we've been together again, 18 years. We're like an old married couple. We're a little grumpy with each other every once in a while. We've been together a long time, but to just instinctive, like no one else I've been around about the game of baseball. Was a great player, but great coach. Players love him. He's a hard worker. He's a grinder. He's that guy that you need to kind of get things going. And so, Scott Daly and I, again, long time together, and does a great job. And then our volunteer coach, which to me, it makes me physically want to be sick to even say volunteer coach, because I've been in that spot. You've been in that spot. You know what it's like. It's not fair. It's not right. But Brock Bennett is as good as they come. And he played at Alabama. He's from the state of Georgia, so he's back home, but played professional baseball, as coached as a full-time assistant at Georgia State, has been a volunteer at Alabama, but just knows the game, really hard worker, doing everything the right way. And he hasn't been rewarded yet. I mean, he's going to be a head coach. And to have a guy in that position, at the volunteer position, that's something that has to get changed. We keep talking about it. I thought it was going to get changed 3 years ago. It got voted down. I still don't understand why, but that's something that's got to change in our game, to get rid of that volunteer coach, because it's demeaning, to be honest with you. These guys work as hard as anybody. They spend as much time as anybody, and they deserve more. But coaching staff that we have here, my support staff, is just second to none.
Yeah, I'll do one more before I send it to JP, but I'm with you. I think first and foremost, you got to at least let them get out and recruit. That's the one thing you're always looking for as a head guy to bring in the next step, is the recruiter, and you can't get the experience there. It's really hard to do. So I wanted to touch real quick on the SEC tournament. I watch it every year. It is, I would say, as tough as the regional and super regional round combined in that 1 week span. Break that down for me. How challenging is that week, and right before postseason too?
Yeah, it is a grind. And if you win the SEC tournament, I mean, you're certainly one of the best teams in the country, if not the best team in the country. And, look at Mississippi State last year. Mississippi State went in the SEC tournament, went 0-2, and really got beat. They didn't play well. They got beat quick. They go home. You don't like losing, but you get a chance to go home and take a breath and get ready for the postseason. Ray Tanner, the athletic director at South Carolina, used to be the head coach at South Carolina, and they won back-to-back national championships. In both of those seasons, I believe they went 0-2 in the SEC tournament.
Really?
So the SEC tournament, it's a tricky thing, because you want to win every game that you play. And winning championships and having trophies in the trophy case is important, but you also want to go into the regional healthy. You want to go into the regional rested. And if you go into a double elimination tournament, Hoover, Alabama, and you're just busting heads with the other best teams in the country, it is a big time challenge to advance and go to the regional and have your minds right. It is tough, and it's a challenge. But our message to our kids, we're going to try to win today. We're going to try to win today. We win today, we're going to go tomorrow. We're going to try to win tomorrow. And you know what? If we get to the championship, awesome. We're ready. We're going to try to win that championship game. In 2019, we got to the semifinals, and we had to move our pitching around a little bit. Emerson Hancock had mono, and it was a good type of mono where the doctor, if there's such a thing as a good type of mono, the doctor cleared him you can pitch. It's not the kind, the spleen was fine. You can pitch, but you're going to have some fatigue. So we had to have him on a pitch count. We were going to start Tony Losi in game 1 of the regionals. We knew we were going to be a number 1 seed. Tony Losi is going to be our Friday night starter against a 4 seed the following week. So you can't throw him on Sunday. Yeah. And Emerson's on a pitch count. So we decided that we're going to pitch Emerson on a pitch count and then bring Tony in behind him. That gives us the best chance to win today to get to the finals. Mm-hmm. And we ended up losing that game. I think Ole Miss beat us 4-2. It was a really good baseball game. We didn't win that game, but we were doing everything we could to win that day. But we also had the regionals in mind. So that's the thing that makes it different, is you still have to have your face up and your eyes up, thinking ahead to make sure that we're ready for the postseason. But we want to win today too. So it is a big time challenge. Talent levels off the charts, the competitive levels off the charts, but you've also got to think and look ahead just a little bit to that regional round.
Go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, the one thing I kind of want to touch on. So when I worked for the Kansas City Royals, the biggest thing that players would talk about is how humbled they got as soon as they got to professional baseball, because they went from being like this big fish and kind of a small pond to now all of a sudden kind of having everybody at the same level. And I'm sure a lot of that happens too when they transition from high school to college. So what are some things that you do to kind of help with the mindset of players to kind of help them buy into that team effort when they get to the college level?
Well, when they get here, our freshmen now get here in July. So they're here a month to kind of prepare. To get acclimated to campus, to figure out, where the dining hall is and where your classes are, and to be on campus when there's 4,000 students instead of 34,000 students. So I think that helps them get acclimated a little bit to what's coming. It's difficult in the weight room. They go in there with Coach Gearhart, our strength coach, for a month and they get their heads kicked in. And but you know what? They're all in it together. And when the team comes back in August and everyone's together, those freshmen are a little bit into the program already. So I think that really helps. I meet with our freshmen once a week when they come in here their first semester, just to sit down and say, how you doing? Because if I ask them on the field how they're doing, they're going to say they're doing great because they're around all their teammates, and they're not going to tell me that they're struggling with anything, that they miss home, they miss their mom, they miss their girlfriend. They're not going to tell me that on the field. But in the office, when we close the door, hey man, how's it going? And there's been some tears that have flown over the last 18 years that I've done this, because they do have a transition. It's a huge transition from high school to college. And when mom and dad hug you and kiss you and close that door and leave, oh no, a lot of kids, it hits kids differently. Everyone's homesick at some point, and some are a bunch and some are very little, but everybody feels a little bit. So I learned that very early on, that just talking to the freshmen one-on-one, come in the office, let's sit down. It's 10 or 15 minutes. We end up talking about baseball because that's what we are. But hey, man, how are your classes? How's the dorm? How are your roommates? How's your mom and dad doing? Start talking about that. Get to know them a little bit better, but also just making sure they're doing okay, because we all know, man, it's rocky when you come in as a freshman. Everything's new. You're used to being, like you said, the big fish. Now all of a sudden you think you stink. I can remember being a freshman at Kent State going, man, I stink. I'm not very good, because everyone else, I don't stink. Everyone else around me is just better. Yeah. And that's what makes really good players great players, is they try to get to the level of the guys around you. And same thing happens in pro ball. You walk in there and you just see unbelievable, talented dudes around you that, man, I had good players around me in college, but I never seen anything like that. And so I think it's kind of sink or swim. I've got to get to that level where I'm not going to make it here. And it's tough at the college level and it's tough at the pro level.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge element to remember. That's a lot of the times there's that human element inside that kind of gets forgotten. And it's great to see that you take those players aside and be able to have the opportunity to just kind of talk to them one-on-one. But yeah, I'll kick it off to Austin for another question.
No, Coach, you bring up a couple really good points. I remember me being a freshman at the University of Nevada, and I came in, and my first years I played for an old school coach, Ray Mackey, got to play for him, Coach Gary Powers. He was there for 31 years or so. And then the last two was with Coach Jay Johnson, now at LSU. And it was a crazy culture change, right, from both sides, but both taught me a ton of things about life, coaching, just being a good person, and more than baseball. But you mentioned two things. One, like as a freshman hopping in, it's really easy to be like, man, the easy route, the comfortable routes to go home, the comfortable routes to transfer out, the comfortable route is to leave and just kind of run away from the issue instead of facing it head on. But then you mentioned the fact of that relationship building, like you're getting them there early, which I love. I think that's so key. And then for you, it's like, come into my office, let's just have a conversation. Like, let's just talk. So I guess kind of so maybe elaborate on that, the importance from the coaching staff to build those relationships with those players, especially some of the new guys coming into the program who might not know you as well or might not know each other as well. And they're really nervous, right? They kind of scared to get on there. How important is that relationship building aspect from the coaching staff to the players?
Well, every coach and probably every boss out there, hey, my door's always open. Who actually walks through that door?
Yeah.
Nobody does.
So
I mean,
true.
hey, come on in, door's open. No, it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not going in there. So I make them come in. It's, hey, you're coming in here and you're going to talk. And it's once a week. We do it for the first semester. And again, it's just how you doing. And I learned this at Kent State, and it was my second year as a head coach. We had a really good player that was about 3 hours away from home. He was from Ohio, but 3 hours away from home. Really talented kid, a kid we thought might get drafted out of high school. He shows up. And he's doing fine. And I'm seeing him at the field. Brad, how's it going? I'm good, coach. I'm good. Everything's fine. He comes into my office we're about a month and a half into school, knocks on the door. Coach, you got a second? Yeah, sure. Come on in, Brad. Closes the door. Boom, Niagara Falls. I mean, just complete breakdown. Crying, bawling. He is the most homesick kid I've ever seen in my life. And I never saw any signs of it because at the field, you know, we're guys. We're not going to show our feelings around our teammates or even around our coaches. We're just going to go and be a robot and play and not let that. But when he went home in the dorms and he closed that door and he's by himself, oh, it was hitting hard. And that's when I realized, you know what, I can't just ask them how they're doing. I've got to actually come in and sit down and make them tell me how they're doing. And most of the time, they're all doing pretty good. They've got some things here and there, but I've had at least one player per year that, man, that homesickness is tough. And it's not their fault. It just is. And there are kids that have never had any issues before. Coach, I went to summer camp when I was a kid. I went away from home. I don't know why I feel this way. And it's just human nature. It hits everybody different. So I just thought it was important. I need to bring these kids in. How you doing? How are things going? How's mom and dad? How's your girlfriend? All these different things, because when they're juniors, they'll come into your office and sit down and tell you what's going on if they've already done it as freshmen. Ooh. So the door being open, I think, needs to be open physically for them early to make them go in and do this. And then they realize, you know, I'm not just the guy yelling and screaming at the field. I can actually talk and have a conversation with them and be a human being. Because sometimes as coaches, you guys have all been coached hard before. Sometimes that head coach, it's tough to go up and talk to that head coach. And I want them to feel comfortable talking to me. They're not always comfortable talking to me, but if they've done it before, it makes it a little bit easier.
Coach, I truly believe that's why you've had the success you've had and the longevity. I mean, just from former player aspect, I want to be around coaches like that where, hey, they're going to be tough on me. They're going to be truth tellers. They're going to give it to me how it is. But I can still go up to them off the field and say, Coach, I'm struggling in the classroom. I'm struggling with my girlfriend who just broke up with me, or whatever that the situation might be that a lot of our athletes are going through. So I love that for sure. And then the next thing that I kind of want to ask, I'll kick it back to Ray, is you've had a lot of success, right? You've had a bunch of different things in your life that have been great moments, I'm sure. What is like one of the biggest highlights of your career? It could be coaching, it could be playing wise, but a moment where you just felt like a sense of maybe being proud or just excited, or just one of those highlights in your life that really stands out to you?
Well, a couple things. At Kent State, we had a lot of success, and I've actually got, it's framed in my office at home. My first press conference. I'm a head coach. I'm 32 years old. I had hair and everything, man. I tell my kids, I used to be good looking and everything. And it's amazing. You know, it was 18 years ago. And, but the headline was, you know, at Kent State, it had success. Danny Hall was there. Rick Remblak was there, had gone to regionals, had success, had big leaguers come out of there. But I wanted to take it to the next level. Okay, we've been to the postseason. We've got to have our sights set for Omaha. We've got to think about the College World Series at Kent State. Why not? Why can't that be us? And the headline was, you know, new head coach has sights set really high. And then it had Omaha in there. And I can remember, oh, come on. You're not going to Omaha at Kent State. It's just not happening. And 2012, we went to Omaha. And we had built our alumni base up with, I send out an email weekly to our alumni here at Georgia, and I did it at Kent State. They knew our team. They knew what we were doing. They were invested and involved in our program. And walking into the Kent State official restaurant in Omaha, and all of our fans, but we had over 100 former players there. And that was really cool for me to watch, say, you know what, this is what we've built. And we've done really, really proud to do that at my alma mater, and to get to Omaha to win a game. We lost our first game to Arkansas. It was all SEC. It was Arkansas, South Carolina, and Florida, and Kent State in our bracket. And we lost opening game to Arkansas, and we beat Florida, who arguably was the most talented team ever. They had, I think, 5 or 6 first rounders on that team, and they just found a way to win. I don't know how we did. We won that game, and then lost a tight one to South Carolina, but we finished 5th in the country at Kent State. So that's a really proud moment for me. And then the other thing is turning this program around. We went 4 years of struggling, of trying to get it right. And in year 5, we were a number 1 national seed. In year 6, we were a number 1 national seed. In year 7, we were ranked number 2 in the country when it got shut down. So we've been able to build this thing and to be consistent. Last year, I thought we were really good. We were beat up. I thought we should have been in the postseason. That would have been the first time in Georgia history that we were in the postseason 3 consecutive seasons. Wow. 18 and 19, we were in. 20, obviously we would have been in, but we weren't. Season got shut down. So 2021, that would have been the first time in the history of Georgia baseball being in the postseason 3 years in a row, and we got snubbed. We didn't get in, and that hurt. That was a challenge, but now we're preseason ranked in the top 15. I think we've got a really good club. So just overall being proud of what we've been able to do at Georgia to build a consistent winner, to bring our fan base a really good product on the field, and to challenge to get back to Omaha. That's what's in front of us now.
How nice is it playing in front of that fan base too? You guys, your attendance records are just continuing to climb, it seems. But
yeah, it's really cool. Athens is, if you've never been to Athens, it should be a bucket list place to visit. It's the best college town in America. I'm biased when I say that, but it gets voted that every single year. It's just a great college town. Fully field. Our field it's not a 10,000 seat stadium. It seats we get about 4,000 with a sellout, but you're right on top of the action. It's a great setting, has a Wrigley Field, Fenway Park kind of feel to it. We're in the middle of a neighborhood. So it's just an awesome setting, a great place to play. You go on the road and you're playing at Mississippi State or LSU or Arkansas. It's just insane. It just really is. And I still pinch myself to this day. I come into the office, I'm like, I can't believe I'm here. I'm from Athens, Ohio, and now I'm in Athens, Georgia, at the University of Georgia. How did this happen? How am I here? And just really fortunate, really lucky. And I don't take that for granted. And I think our players feel that way too, is, man, look what we get to do every day. And it's eye-opening sometimes when you go on the road, maybe to a mid-major school, and you see, okay, this is where they get to practice and play, and they realize how fortunate they are. Coming from Kent State, we had a nice setup. We had a nice locker room and turf field, but it's not close to compared to the resources and the facilities that our players get to utilize every single day. So yeah, there's a lot of arm pinching going on, just with me. I can't believe I'm here, and just really, really fortunate.
Yeah, when you walk onto some of those fields, and for us, like in the Mountain West and the WAC, there were some fields you go to and you're like, man, this is a tough situation for these guys. But then you'd play on summer teams with guys from Georgia or LSU, and they're just like, they would complain sometimes about things in their situation. It's like, man, let's bring some perspective back and put you in the right area,
Anytime I get a complaint, and it happens, it's just human nature wherever you are, you look at someone, hey, they get this, how come we don't? No, hold on a second. When you go into pro ball, wait 1 week, just 1 week, and call me after a week and tell me how good you had it at Georgia. Because if you play pro ball, if you've been on a 14-hour bus ride from Memphis to Raleigh in the middle of the night and get off the bus at 10 a.m. and your hotel room's not ready yet, so you got to wait, and then you got to play that night, plus you get $15 a day meal money. So just, hey, take it in perspective when you get into pro ball. And that's one thing I've told my guys, you have to understand when you get to pro ball, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
Pro ball sucks.
Yeah.
And it's funny to say that. I mean, I played 5 years.
Yeah.
I played sucky baseball for 5 years. The only place it's awesome is the big leagues.
Yeah.
And it's designed that way for a reason. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be a challenge because the guys that get to the big leagues, you're either a freak athlete or you're a grinder and a guy that just accepts it. So I tell all my guys, the sooner you understand that it's going to suck, if you can just understand it, accept it, don't complain about it, just go out every single day. This is the way it is. I'm going to make the best of it. Those are the guys that succeed. And anyone that played pro ball can tell you, you're half of your team, maybe 75% of your team, all you do is complain. God, it's so hot. God, I'm so sore. Oh, this bus ride stinks. Our hotel sucks. It's just because it does. But the guys that make it are the guys that accept it. This sucks. Okay, now what? Because complain about it and make it better. When it's hot outside, I tell my guys, okay, you saying it's hot, did it just get cooler? Nope. It's still hot. So why are you complaining? So as soon as you understand it and accept that, and it takes a pretty special dude, because I was the dude complaining. Believe me, this sucks. I hate it. And it's at a point, if you're a pro baseball player in the minor leagues, at some point, you've either said it out loud or said it to yourself, I hate baseball.
Yeah.
I hate this. This sucks because it's so hard. And you just have to have that mindset that this is what it is. And even though I get to play every day, the outsider goes, hey, you're playing baseball. Yeah, I am. And it's a job. And when baseball becomes a job, it's really hard. So that's the thing that people don't understand. You know, they see you on a Tuesday night playing at a minor league park and they're in the stands eating a hot dog and drinking a beer. And man, this is cool. Well, those guys down there are grinding it. And they've got real life pressures of no money. You're not getting paid. You've got guys around you that got bigger bonuses than you that you might be better than they're playing in front of you.
I know.
And it's real and it
so
stinks and it sucks. And as soon as you accept it, I think you got a better chance to succeed.
JP, I'll let you go.
I was just going to say, I worked in that Arizona complex league, and those guys are 6 a.m. wake ups, played 9, 10 a.m. in the morning games in 100-degree weather. And that was every day. And I think they got one day off a week. So it was like basically Monday through Saturday games. And then they had Sunday off.
It's brutal. One of my favorite lines, it was from our minor league equipment manager in instructional league, my first year with the Minnesota Twins. And anyone that's with the Twins knows who I'm talking about. Wayne Hadaway, just an absolute icon in the Twins minor. He just passed away 2 years ago. But Wayne was in charge of giving us 6-inch Subway subs at lunch. 6 weeks. This is instructional league back in 1993. We went 6 weeks in instructional league. We had 6-inch Subway subs, cold cut combos or tuna for 6 straight weeks for lunch. And we had a player, Ryan Lane, who's now coaching in college. And Ryan, I reminded him of this story. It's one of my favorite quotes ever. About 4 weeks in, Ryan Lane comes in and just says to Wayne, what are the chances that we have something different than Subway tomorrow? He goes, about as much chance you got making it to the big leagues. I laughing. I mean, it was so funny, right off the cuff. And that's what it is, man. It's so hard. And it is the chances of a regular minor league dude making it to the big leagues is slim and none. It just is. And you've got to find a way to accept that. The only way I'm going to get there is by grinding it out, and it's going to suck along the way. But those are the guys that end up making it because they just went about their business and got it done.
I saw a statistic the other day. I think it's 90% of minor leaguers will be released in their career.
Wow.
And it's a world game now. It's gotten so much harder now with the obviously Dominican Republic and Venezuela, but now you've got Korean players and Australian players and Japanese players. It's a world game now, and it's the best of the best. And I mean, to go watch a double or triple A game, it's so high level. It's so unbelievable. And the stuff that coming out of the pitcher's hands right now, everything's 95 plus with life. And that guy's not in the big leagues. Yeah. And it's just so hard to get there. And then it's so hard to stay there and to stay healthy and to fight off the younger guys coming up trying to take your job. It's so difficult. And the guys that make it and make a living and do really well at it, I mean, it's just, again, freak athlete or grinder. And the superstars are both. The Mike Trouts of the world, the Derek Jeters of the world, freak athletes, but grinders. Those are the guys that are superstars.
Yeah, that's huge. And you're bringing back some flashbacks, some good memories and bad memories. I remember going to Clinton, Iowa, and it smelled like freaking cow
paper mill.
everywhere.
Paper mill, man.
You
I just smelled it. You just said it.
Thank you.
Clinton has the paper mills, and Cedar Rapids has the sugar, the corn syrup for the cereals. And you get off that. What is that smell?
Yeah.
It's it's the factories. It's blue collar, man. It's middle America.
Yeah. I'm having like nightmares right now. I remember walking into our hotel. We get there exactly what you named. Hey, it's like 10 a.m. It's not ready. And then we finally get in. We've got like an hour to shower and get ready. And we go into the bathroom, and I look at my towel, and there's blood on my towel. There's like bugs crawling around the hotel. I'm like, this is where we are for the next 3 days. Like what? And then you go outside, there's no relief because it's 95, humid, and it smells like that. It's like,
where are you going to go?
crazy.
I mean, you're on the road. You don't have a car. You're at a Motel 6 off an exit. There's an Applebee's across the road that I can't afford to eat at because I only got $15 for the day. So, your strategy is to sleep in as long as you can, to still go down and get a Danish from the Continental Breakfast to save you. Then go back and maybe play video games or take a nap. And then you go to the field at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and you play cards, and then you play a game, and then you get back, and then you order pizza, and then you sleep until noon and do it again. And it's Groundhog Day. That's a minor league life, and it is brutal hard. Hey, do you get some weightlifting down the road? Where am I going to lift? The Motel 6 doesn't have a weight room. So what am I going to do? And it's just the minor league life, especially the lower levels, are so difficult. And to be able to get to double and triple A and have a chance to get to the big leagues, just a chance to get there, it's a huge challenge.
Yeah, this is so good. I love it, Coach. And thanks for the honesty with it. I love it. It's so spot on. It's so spot on.
It is what it is.
I love it. And really like going to that point, it's like, hey, if you have the chance and you're one of those guys who's in those rounds, like obviously first rounder, you probably a good chance you're going to go. But if you're in those rounds where you're looking at it, like I have the chance to go to this environment where the football game's got to be just insane, right? Absolutely out of this world. The environments, the culture of college, just being a college athlete. And then there's like that dream of playing professional baseball. And I think a lot of kids forget, like, because they can't really see it, right? They haven't been there yet. So that amazing experience that you can get by even going to college and saying, hey, like, let me get my 3 years in, let me go crush it, see what happens after this. But you never get those college years back, which I truly believe are so special.
I think all of us as college coaches now have done a better job of in our recruiting talks, kids that can come in and play right away in the SEC are going to have a chance to play professional baseball and get drafted out of high school. And it's professional scouts' job to find those kids and to try to get them and convince them that professional baseball is the best route. So these kids are torn when they get in their senior in high school. They got people pulling on them from both directions. And really the only thing we can do is give them the facts, give them the information. These are the numbers, these are the stats. Statistically speaking, you've got a better chance of getting to the big leagues and staying in the big leagues by going to college. You've got a statistically better chance of going to college and going to the SEC of getting to the big leagues and staying in the big leagues. Doesn't guarantee anything. Doesn't mean that high school kids are not going to make it to the big leagues. But if you're going to bet, and that's basically what you're doing as an 18-year-old, you're betting on your future. Is it better for me to go to pro ball? Is it better for me to go to college? So you're placing a bet, for lack of a better way to describe it. You're placing the bet. What are you going to do? You're going to take the odds. The odds are you've got a better chance of making it by going to college. And it's not because necessarily the coaching's better, or it's not necessarily about that. It's more about an 18-year-old having money in his pocket and freedom versus a 21-year-old having money in his pocket and freedom. Think about yourself as 18-year-old, put $1 million in your pocket as an 18-year-old and go to some town in Florida or Arizona where every girl in town knows who you are and knows what your bank account looks like. How's that 18-year-old going to handle that?
Yeah.
Not very good. It's not going to work out very well. The 21-year-old, probably a pretty good chance it might not work out either, but you've got a better chance. You're a little bit more mature. You've paid a bill on your own, hopefully. You've been on your own a little bit. You know what it's like to have some hardships, but an 18-year-old going off on his own with a bunch of money in his pocket is not a really good formula. And the example I always use is name me a childhood star, a movie star, a TV star, a musician that grew up normal. That's now 25, 35, 45. That's a normal person. Pretty rare. They get messed up because they're never told no. And when you're 18 and you're a millionaire, you're not being told no. You're given every chance to succeed and fail. And that's not necessarily a good combination. So we just talk about growing up. Come to college, grow up a little bit, and then go off and play professional baseball. The odds are better, and the odds are better that you're just going to be a little bit more normal when you get to be 35 years old.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Coach. I completely agree. Kind of as we start wrapping this, and Ray, I'll kick it back to you in a second. But my last question to you, Coach, is I know along this journey, you've had a lot of people that have poured into you. You've had a lot of great people in your life, I'm sure, a lot of fellow coaches, mentors, and people that have meant a lot to you. Who's been somebody that just stands out in your mind that's been one of your best mentors, who's kind of taken you under their wing and just helped kind of lead you through this process, maybe in your early coaching days or even up until now? But who's that one person, that mentor for you in your life that just meant a lot to you, and maybe kind of elaborate on why?
Well, it all starts at home. My dad was, just unbelievable to me and my brother, and it was, coached us in Little League and was at every single game, and go in the backyard and hit us fly balls when he got home from work when he was tired, and would catch us when we wanted to pitch. And just, he was that guy. And he retired my senior in high school so he could go out and watch me play. Went to almost every single game I played in college, home or away. So him and my mom and dad, they traveled everywhere. And when I got into professional baseball, they were able to take long road trips and go watch us play and just be there. So, my dad just passed away a couple of weeks ago. It's been tough, but that's it. For me, it started at home. That he was a butt kicker. He kicked us in the ass regularly, and it made us tougher. And I think that's what it's about. And I'll tell our players that too, is I'm not here to be your best friend. There are times that you're mad at mom and dad because they tell you what to do or what you can and cannot do or take things away from you. Well, that's part of my job too. And so you're not going to love me every single day, but you need to respect what we're trying to do. And that's what my dad taught me, is it was tough love. This is the way it's going to be. If you don't do it right, I'm going to kick you in the ass. And, but he gave me a lot of pats on the back and a lot of hugs too. So for me, it started at home, and miss him terribly. This will be the first season that I don't have him around. And it's been a tough couple of weeks for me and my family.
Coach, we're definitely sorry to hear that, man, and sending you prayers and blessings your way. And just that impact that he's had in your life is absolutely incredible. And I know he's going to be with you throughout this whole season and right there by your side. But Ray Mac, I'll kick it off to you as we kind of wrap this up.
Yeah, I mean, you can just tell, like, as a coach, players always just want to know you have their back. And I think that you've shown that just in your conversation with us. And clearly your dad had your back, no doubt. So we really appreciate you spending your time with us. We have a quick game, a 5-minute game to get you on out of here. We didn't prep you at all, but here it is.
Oh, no.
It's called On It or Off It. I'm going to go through 10 things quick. You're going to tell me you're on it, you're for it, or you're off it. You're not really about it, and just a quick sentence as to why.
Okay.
All right. Number 1, pineapple on pizza.
Off it. No way. Absolutely not.
Hard.
Pineapple, I'm fine by itself, but no, don't. You got two good things. Two good things don't always go together. Absolutely off it.
Okay. Ice skating.
Off it. Just never did it. And I've gone with my kids, and I'm that, old man out there. I look like, Rocky and Adrian going around the rink at 2 mile an hour. That's me. Off it. Not very good at it.
Okay. Breaking balls.
Love them. Got to be able to do it. In our league, you're just feeding fastballs in there, you're going to lose it in a hurry. So you got to be able to do it as a pitcher. As a hitter, I hate it because I couldn't hit it anyway. But yeah, I'm on it. As a coach, you got to be able to do it.
Very good. Ted Lasso. Have you watched it?
Love it. Awesome. I called, we had a player, Riley King, last year. I called him, it's been a while. Is it Danny?
Tart? Is that it?
Oh, no. Who's the guy from Colombia that's football's life? Danny Rojas?
Rojas. Yeah.
Rojas. I called Riley King Rojas because Riley King literally walked in. God, what a great day. Isn't this awesome? I'm like, hey, man, you're Danny Rojas. Football is life. Baseball is life. I love Ted Lasso. Really good stuff.
Very nice. Cracker Barrel restaurant.
Love it. Really good, but I got to take a nap. Now, as you get older, you guys will figure this out. When you're younger, you eat it, you feel pretty good. You eat it now, it's 10 a.m. when you walk out of there. I can take a nap at 10 a.m. So love it, but it hurts.
Jeopardy. Were you a Jeopardy guy?
Yeah, like it. I was Trivial Pursuit. You guys are probably too younger. But Trivial Pursuit, we used to do that, and I used to cheat at night. Like instead of reading, I used to read the cards.
Oh,
just,
nice.
You know, I made it up that I'm trying to get more knowledge and get smarter, but I was basically cheating ahead of time just so I could be smarter. But yeah, I feel pretty smart when I can knock off a few Jeopardies. I did that the other night. I got like 3 or 4 in a row and felt pretty good, but it was all 80s rock music, which is kind of my wheelhouse. And then it went into something science and I was screwed. So yeah, I love it, but it's amazing how dumb I am.
Hey, you're not showing up on Friday without a scouting report. So
that's exactly right.
Expanding the regionals to 32 host sites.
I like it. I think having as many home opportunities as possible. I think it helps our game. It helps the mid-majors. You know, Kent State, we were never going to host a regional. And now all of a sudden you get it to 32. I think it gives a great opportunity and just gives more teams a better chance to advance. And I think college baseball should be played on campuses as much as possible. And giving those teams from the north and spreading our game around, you know, UConn, they need to host. Michigan needs to host. You know, those teams need to host. And if you expand it to 32, it gives more teams opportunities. And some of those mid-majors can sneak in there too.
I like that. Top Gun.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I'm still waiting. Did I miss it? Did Top Gun 2 come out? I keep seeing trailers for it. But yeah, 1986, I remember where I was when I first watched it. So yeah, I was 14 years old, loving that stuff. The crazy thing about it though, is you guys have probably never seen the movie Revenge of the Nerds. You ever seen that?
I have.
Okay, well Goose was the nerd. In Revenge of the Nerds, Goose was Gilbert.
Really?
And he was just he was a computer nerd and got picked on and got beat on, and now all of a sudden he's the cool guy in Top Gun. So that was the hardest part for me. Hold on a second, Gilbert is now a cool guy. So that was the time.
That's awesome. Chick-fil-A.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And Raven on Sundays, it's an unbelievable marketing scheme. They do it because that's their core principles. But man, there's a little bit of marketing in there too. That man, on Monday, I guarantee that Chick-fil-A sales on Monday are through the roof.
Last one, a little more recent here. Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs winning Super Bowl this year.
It's really, really hard to bet against that guy. The guy's really good. But you know what? The second greatest quarterback in Athens high school history from Athens, Ohio, Joe Burrow, is facing, and I say that, and everyone kind of looks at me funny. Yeah, I played quarterback, and no, that's a joke. I was awful at quarterback. Joe Burrow, same high school, and man, that guy can compete. He's really good. So, but winning at Arrowhead is going to be a challenge for the Bengals. I don't know if they have enough around Joe Burrow to get past the Chiefs. So I'm rooting for the Bengals and Joe. I think the Chiefs win. I think they get to the Super Bowl. And yeah, I don't think you're going out on a limb on picking the Kansas City Chiefs.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so either. That was great. We're gonna sit down on every once in a while and just chat it up with you, man. This has been fun.
Come on, let's do it.
Yeah, it's awesome, Coach. We appreciate your time, man. I know you're busy, and for you to take the time out of your day to do something like this, we truly appreciate that. And go Cowboys! Go Cowboys! I had to throw it in there.
I'll just finish that one with a go Dogs and a go Browns. I'm a lowly Browns fan.
Oh
and
man,
it's really, really hard. And the only thing I told my son a long time ago, he's 17 now, but when we were in Ohio, and you know, he just on Sunday he was miserable along with me, and he's like, Daddy, why are we Browns fans? Because we're loyal. Because we're loyal. That's the only answer I could give him. So it's tough, but I've come this far. I'm gonna keep rooting for him.
Yeah, loyalty right there, man. Loyal to the soil. I love it, man. Well, we appreciate your time, Coach. We're sending you guys the best of luck this year, this spring, and definitely going to be pulling for you guys. So we appreciate you coming on here, man, and spending some time with us.
Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach. Take care. All right, we're back. What a cool interview and a great dude. And I can't imagine being a head coach at a SEC program or really any big Power 5 program, but to be doing it at a school that just won a national championship for football too is kind of just mind blowing. What did you think about the interview with Coach Stricklin?
I thought it was awesome. You said it in the intro, man. Like I would love to play for somebody like this who sets the standards, holds each other accountable, but it's the open door policy where he gets to build relationships with his players. I think that was one of the biggest parts that stuck out to me, is that we've interviewed a lot of really good coaches, and whether it's a coach, whether it's an instructor, whether it's just an individual, the common theme is the common theme, and it's building relationships with your players and with your teammates. And that's something that we've seen with all the successful coaches and all the successful programs that we've had on here is they build relationships. They take the time to get to know their players. And so that was something that really stuck out to me. I could hear it from a couple of their old guys that I played with in summer leagues before that loved it, right? They loved their experience there. I mean, how can you not? It's got to be an electric environment right now with football and where they're going. But just a great job of connecting with players, building those relationships, and then setting the standard for their team and program, and then never wavering. You know, I think for him, like setting that standard as a head coach is important because now everybody knows what to expect. So really enjoyed the interview.
Yeah, and any coach that's going to run in and call one of their players, Danny, what was his name? Danny, anyways, Ted Lasso. He loves Ted Lasso. I botched it in the interview. I botched it again. Danny Trejo. Doesn't matter. Anyways, that's going to do it for us today.
That's it.
That's going to do it for us today. Coach, again, thank you so much. We're looking forward to watching you this year. We're going to be taking tabs on all you guys. SEC Network's going to get a lot of play this year. Take it easy on our Tigers. So anyways, thank you all for listening. If you have any questions or want to check us out, MajorLeagueUniversity.com. We have all the details. That's it for me. That's it for Austin, BZB Byler.